Good day, everyone. I am Sundara C. Amahoy, and today I will be presenting a report on project based learning in teaching English as a foreign language. To give you an idea of what we'll cover, this presentation will go through the definition, features, benefits, and importance of using PBL in the EFL classroom. So, first, let me walk you through the outline of my presentation. I will begin with an introduction, then move on to the objectives, the definition of PBL, its main features, the benefits of PBL in teaching English, its importance in EFL teaching, and finally, the conclusion and references. Now, to start us off, project based learning, or PBL, is a teaching method that puts students at the center of the learning process. Instead of just listening to lectures, students learn by working on real world projects. Because of this approach is becoming more popular in teaching English as a foreign language. It makes learning more meaningful and more engaging. Let me explain why this topic matters. In many traditional English classes, students memorize grammar rules and vocabulary but rarely get to use the language in real situations. So, PBL addresses this problem by giving students opportunities to use English for authentic communication. That's why this topic is important for both teachers and, of course, the learners. With that in mind, here are the objectives of this lesson. By the end of this lesson, students should be able to define PBL, explain its benefits, analyze how it helps develop various skills, apply its principles, and reflect on the changing rules in the classroom. So, what exactly is project based learning, or PBL? So, project based learning, it is an approach where students learn by doing projects. These projects involve real world problems, require investigations, and result in final output like this presentation, video, or report. In this setup, the teachers guide and support rather than lectures. Now, to help you see the difference, here a comparison between traditional teaching and the PBL. In traditional classes, the teacher is the main source of information. On the other hand, in PBL, students take charge of their own learning, or student centered. Skills are practiced together, not in isolation. And the assessment involves reflection from the student, the peers, and the teachers. The five features of PBL. Based on the article by Lam from 2011, we have five. So first, projects are central to the curriculum. So they are not just an extra activities. Second, they are driven by a question or problem. Third, they involve constructive investigation, meaning the students actively um, involved in research and build knowledge. Moving on the last two of the benefits, or no, features rather. Fourth, we have the project are student driven. So meaning students make decision about their work. And fifth, projects are realistic. They connect to real life situation, not just in textbook exercises. So these features make PBL different from simple group work or short activities. Now let's talk about the benefits. Okay, let's start with motivation. When students work on something, diba, they care about and have their own choices. They become more engaged, creating a real product like a video or a presentation. It gives them a clear goal to work toward. As a result, language learning become less abstract and it is become more practical. Another major benefits of PBL is that it helps students to practice all four language. So first they read together the information, write to plan and create, listen to teammates and media, and speak during discussion and presentation. So in short, skills are integrated, not just thought separately. On the top of that, collaboration is another key benefit. Students work in teams, share responsibilities with others, and communicate with each other using the English language. In this way, they build not only the language skills but also social and teamwork skills that are very valuable in real life situations. Beyond collaboration, PBL also develops critical thinking. Students don't just memorize facts, they analyze the problem, they make decisions, they evaluate their own work. So, this prepare the students for higher level thinking skills and also the problem solving skills. Now, here's something really valuable. No, when students lead their own projects, they build confidence and independence. So when they are going to present or presenting their work to others, helps it helps them to overcome their shyness, managing their own time and tasks, prepare for future studies and careers. So, confidence and independence go hand in hand with PBL or project based learning. Last but not the least, PBL connects the classroom to the real world. Instead of doing artificial exercises, students use English for real purpose, like interviewing people, making newsletter, or creating a short film. So because of this, learning becomes more relevant and memorable for the students. So why does PBL matters specifically in EFL teaching? So in many EFL settings kasi students only hear and use English inside the classroom. PBL helps by creating an environment where students use English actively and meaningfully. In the end, this builds their ability to communicate in real life situations. It is also important to note or to know that in a PBL classroom, the teacher's role changes. Instead of standing in front and lecturing the students, the teachers becomes a facilitator of learning, meaning guiding students, providing students the materials, checking their progress, and also offering encouragement. So, the teacher is more of a coach in PBL rather than a lecturer. On the other side, students also take a new role. They become active participants who make their own decisions, research information, create products, and present their work. In other words, they collaborate with their classmates and reflect on what they have learned on a specific lesson. Now let me give you some examples. In a PBL classroom, students can interview people, create podcasts, write newsletter, or make short films. For instance, a speaking project could be conducting interviews and recording a podcast, or like this, recording a presentation. Writing project could be creating a class blog or magazine. So there are many ways or possibilities in a PBL classroom. Let me walk you through one concrete example of a PBL classroom or environment, a class magazine project. So the question is, how can we share our stories and ideas with others? So first, the students will gather an information or brainstorm topics. Then they write articles, poems, or interviews. So after that, they design the layout with images or pictures. Next, they edit and revise. And of course, they present the magazine to the class. As you can see in this project, using reading, writing, speaking, and collaboration all at once in a one specific project. So, to wrap things up, project based learning is an effective approach for teaching English as a foreign language. It develops not only language skills but also the motivation, the confidence, the collaboration, and the critical thinking of the students. Most importantly, it makes learning more meaningful and prepare students for the real world situations. That's why PBL is recommended to the teachers to explore it and implement this in their classroom. To summarize everything, PBL puts students at the center, student centered. It develops all language skills together, increase ang motivation, builds confidence, importance life skills, and the teacher guides while the students take charge of their own learning. At the end of the day, it makes English learning more relevant and more practical. It makes the English easy to learn and understand. And finally, this report is based on the article by Lam from 2011. You can search it on Google. Thank you for listening, everyone. Do you have any questions or clarifications